I think treating coffee like a fresh produce, that's what we're trying to do. It would definitely make more sense for us to just buy a huge amount of, one coffee and roast it the whole time. Once it gets 12 months off the tree, it's going to start tasting a bit woody, it just won't taste as good as it did. We're really trying to roast coffees when they're at their best. That's our goal. So roast days typically start quite early, so we normally get here about 7:30. In the summer that's nice, but in the winter it's pretty dark, and the weather on the west coast can be quite wild at times. All these kind of things we have to kind of factor into our roasting. The day usually starts making a coffee. We'll have a look at the orders, make the production schedule, and then start weighing out the batches. That's what coffee looks like when it's not roasted. So kind of pale green. It doesn't really smell of much. So our whole business is built on seasonal coffee. So by that we mean we're only buying coffees that we consider to be in season. So this would be the name of the producer. So the Caballero family. La Francisca is the name of the farm, and this is kind of the lot number, the country of origin, and the crop year here. So that's something we're particularly interested in. So if we had the same coffee that was harvested maybe in 2018, it would taste very different to this one. Our range is constantly changing throughout the year depending on which countries are harvesting and coffees that taste best as well.
Normally the coffees we're roasting are maybe 6 to 11 months off the tree, and then the last 3 months in the range. So it's just finding the time when that coffee's going to taste best, and never kind of roasting it past its best. So this is a coffee we're roasting at the moment, called Trelbessa, and this is one of our espresso roasts. It's from Ethiopia, and in particular Yirgacheffe. The majority of our coffees would be wash coffees, and basically that means the fruit flesh that surround the coffee beans is mechanically removed before they're sent out to dry. In other processing methods like the natural processing method or honeys, it tends to add certain flavours to the coffee, which can be sometimes very good or sometimes not so good. We prefer wash coffees because it doesn't add any flavours. What you're going to be tasting is the variety and where it's grown. So once we know what orders we got in, we will start weighing out batches. So we do 6 kilos for filter, and we do 8 kilos for espresso. No particular reason, just we roast more espresso than we do filter, so kind of makes more sense have bigger batch sizes for it. So once the batches are weighed out, we'll list everything we're doing kind of on the whiteboard, so we've got a bit of a plan for the day, and then we start roasting, and it's quite a full-on day because once you start you can't really stop. A busy day for us might be say 30 batches, and that's starting roasting at 9 o'clock, and we might not finish then until about 5. So snacks kind of essential.
When we roast, the roaster is hooked up to like roasting software called Cropster. There's 2 probes in the roaster. We've got one that records the temperature of the beans, and then we've got another probe that records the exhaust temperature, so basically like the air surrounding the beans. We use this data to create our roast recipes. When the coffee's in the cooling tray, we do a quick pick of the beans. What we're looking to do is remove any lightly coloured bean, which are known as Quakers, or often come from underripe cherries, say, or poorly nourished trees. So it's only when it's roasted they're obvious and we can remove them.
Coffee, once it's roasted, it loses between 11 and 14% moisture. So for us, with each coffee, we know there's a window of what those levels should be. So by weighing the end weight, we can kind of see how that coffee's roasted, and we'll know if there's anything we need to look into further.
So we do 2 different roast styles, espresso and filter. The coffees we choose for each are different, but the way we roast for each brew method is a little bit different as well. Depending on what the coffee is, like what variety and where it's grown, they can look quite different. So this would be one of the Ethiopian coffees, Rafisa, and this would be Pacamara from El Salvador. So you can see the beans are quite different in size and density as well. These would be a lot more dense, grown at higher altitudes, and these would be a bit more kind of brittle, I suppose. But yeah, it's just like apples, you know, like a Granny Smith would look very different to like a Pink Lady, and it's kind of the same thing with coffee.
All the coffee is packed by hand. It's weighed by hand and then either put into retail bags, kilo bags, or buckets. They're reusable buckets and therefore are kind of local wholesale customers. With the retail bags, we've just moved over to compostable packaging. So that took a long time to get right, but and it's still an ongoing process, but we're really much happier that they are going into compostable bags. The labels are designed by our friend Caddy, doing like the test roast. We'll send her 2 of the kind of most prominent tasting notes, and then from there she'll do up an artwork. But we'll have no idea kind of what comes back to us. It's always a surprise. We love them because they're like, we never know what we're going to get.
We want more people to enjoy this type of coffee.
Part of the reason we started Calendar was to make this type of coffee more accessible, because maybe with specialty coffee there can be barriers for people, and you know it's definitely like a trajectory. Once people try it, they don't tend to go back, and that's really satisfying. To know as well like how much work goes behind the coffee before it even gets to us, you know, at the farm level and everything, and then when it comes to us, how much work we put into it, and then same as the cafe with the baristas and the brewing side. I think then to see somebody enjoy that product at the end really brings it all full circle.
Just a really rewarding process, I think. To see something come to the roastery is like, you know, a raw product, and then it goes out as, you know, roasted coffee that actually tastes really nice. You know, I find that really satisfying. I don't think we'll ever stop learning about coffee. You know, there's still so many unknowns. Like, you know, every week we're learning, and you know that kind of keeps it interesting for me. You know, it's you're never done. Like there's always something to learn. There's always something to try.